Okay, I want to talk about two things here. One, I just watched a video where a person was asking why does anyone need an assault rifle? For the same reason you need two cars, for the same reason you need, two TVs, for the same reason you need 35 DVDs, for the same reason you need 10,000 songs. You don't. But we have the freedom to own multiple cars, multiple computers, thousands of songs, 20 or 30 DVDs, or AR-15 assault rifles. It's a constitution of freedom, not needs. Now the question will come up, yes, but guns kill. Well, cars kill people too, so we need less cars. Knives kill people, so we need less knives. Ropes kill people, so we need less ropes. Alcohol, the combination of alcohol and cars kills a lot more people than guns do. So my question is, why does it matter how a person was killed? Shouldn't it matter of why the person was killed? Or why that person killed the other person? I don't care if, let's say my wife was killed. I don't give a crap what she was killed with. I don't care about that. I care more that my wife was killed and why she was killed than what she was killed with. Because if she gets killed by a gun, she gets killed by a drunk driver, she gets killed by a baseball bat, she's still dead. And nothing will bring her back. And that's what bothers me so much, is the gun control people care so much about this little insignificant thing over here that they forget that people's lives are gone. That's what we should be focused on, not what they use to kill. Now, another thing is the background check things. There was a numbers that I heard that 60% of all gun sales have a background check, and 40% don't. Well, my question is, how do you get to that 40%? If no background check was done, then how do you know a gun was sold? If I sell my gun to, let's say, my dad, I know he's not a felon, I know he's not crazy, he's a reasonable, upstanding citizen. I'm not violating any law by selling it to him. I'm not going to do a background check, so that'd be one of that 40%. But it was never recorded, so how do you know what happened? So how do you get to that 40%? Now, my question to you is this. Okay, so let's say we got 60% with background checks, 40% without background checks, but you don't know how many percent are felons stealing guns, buying guns off each other that they stolen from someplace else. So let's just say, for argument, that 100% of firearms sold have a background check. Well, you still have that unknown percentage of criminals doing the same things they were doing before. So what did you accomplish? You made, again, the law-abiding citizens who were not committing crimes subject to background checks. And you've done absolutely nothing to stop gun violence. You can outlaw every gun in the United States, and every law-abiding citizen could turn his gun in tomorrow, or her gun in tomorrow, and you know what you've done to gun violence? Nothing, because they're not going to turn their guns in. That is the basis of, or that is the pure fallacy of the entire gun control argument. Criminals will not follow the law. I can't say that any plainer. They will not follow the law. Plain and simple. If that was the case, you could simply pass one single law that is illegal to commit any crime, and that would have cured it. How come the law that says you can't go into somebody's house and steal their TV didn't stop burglaries? How come the law that says you can't drive drunk didn't stop drunk driving? How come the law that says you can't drive above 30 miles an hour on this particular road didn't stop speeding? Why? free choice. People can choose to ignore that law. I chose to ignore the speed limit sign, and I got pulled over and got ticketed for it. Bob chose to ignore the rules that says he can't have a handgun because he's a felon, and he can't kill people, and he can't rape people, and he can't rob people. He did it anyway. Wouldn't it be better to equip the people, the law-abiding citizens, to fight back against them? Why do you, this is my question for all the anti-gun people, the gun control people, why do you want to have innocent people die? Why? Because I don't. I take measures to protect myself and to protect those people around me. I carry a firearm. Okay? I carry a handgun probably approximately 95% of the time when I'm out. I would rather die and have the trauma of having to kill somebody over having the trauma of watching people die and not being able to do anything about it. One of the greatest fears in my life is to be able to do nothing when something happens. I used to drive to work and I'd pass a pond. And I would think to myself, what a horrible sight it would be to see a car slide off of that road into that pond and do nothing. At the same time, I'm going to use an event that happened recently. It would be a horrible thought for me to be at the mall, to hear gunshots, reach down and feel an empty holster. To me, that is probably something that would cause me more pain and misery in talking to the psychologist than having to kill that person. I mean, I'm not gonna lie and say I know, because I don't. But I have a good feeling that I'm gonna give you two alternates. Tomorrow I go to the mall and some guy reaches into his bag, pulls out a gun, and starts shooting people. And I reach down, I pull my gun out, and I put 2 rounds into his chest. Or I go to the mall tomorrow and I see a guy reach to his bag, pull a gun out, and start shooting people. And I reach down and I feel nothing. I do believe that I'm going to spend more time on that couch saying, I wish I would have brought my gun. 5 people died. 4 of them I could have saved if I had my gun. Because chances are he's going to get that one shot off before I realize what's going on. I take that responsibility voluntarily. And I understand people's mentalities and physical capabilities and what have you. But I am very bothered when I hear about these mass shootings and stuff where people just run away and don't do anything. I don't understand how they can cope with that. And I feel that every single time I hear people talk about we need to get rid of guns. Because that's what you're asking us to do. I also carry a knife with me. And you're telling me that with my mentality, that I'm going to do something, you would rather me face off against that guy with a gun with my knife over my gun. I mean, if you let my ego talk, I'm good with a knife. But that's my ego, not reality. Reality is, I might get a couple steps close to him with my knife, and then he's going to kill me. That is a vast majority of the time is what's going to happen in that scenario. I mean, even if I'm as quiet as I am, when I come up behind him, I might be able to get closer. I might actually be able to touch him. But unless I get him real fast with my blade, I'm probably going to die. And that's what's so scary, is that that's pretty much what the gun control people want. It's also very bothersome to me that when the tragedy happens, I mean, it's like instantaneously they're up there. We need to ban guns. Look at this horrible thing. Look at this horrible thing. We need to ban guns. Look at this horrible thing. We need to ban guns. To me, it's disgusting that you would use that tragedy, the loss of life, for your political agenda. I mean, that's just horrible. And at the same time, if one of these tragedies happened, and a group came up and said, look at this tragedy over here, somebody should have had a gun, they're going to call them monsters for that. And for them to do it, it's okay. It's one of the things that really drives me nuts about the anti-gun group, is the hypocrisies that they put out, and a lot of people buy into it. The biggest one I think of, and I use a lot, is the fact that there's a gun epidemic, but you're safe so you don't need a gun. So, which one is it? Are we safe, or is there a gun epidemic and we need to do something about it? I mean, because technically, I mean, you really can't have both. I mean, you can't have a disease, let's say a cootie outbreak, and then say, you know what, you don't need to get a cootie vaccine because you're okay. There's a cootie outbreak. So that's all I got. Yeah.